Welcome. These will be my thoughts on Star Wars Visions Season 3, Episode 6, The Lost Ones. They're coming back, but they went to have some cold ones. The episode is rated TV PG, so this video be, there will be spoilers for the episode and hypothetically, potentially, everything Star Wars leading up to it. And yeah, another episode I absolutely loved. So, big fan of the... Yeah, there's a lot. Let's see. I guess a good place to start. I thought they did a really good job on the way that they're on the planet and they're extracting this stuff that comes in extremely handy later on. Very nicely, a good bit of setup and payoff on that. And one of the I'm not sure I remember anybody's names. Sorry. Well, let's see. I think the Jedi was F. But yeah, the one of them is he disappeared when the others turned their back. Not gonna lie, when they said where is he, we look away for 1 second. I was thinking, did they bring a child to the doomed planet 3 minutes before there's a storm? But okay, it's or maybe a dog or something. But nope, it's an adult, and he just he wants to be with his family. And we see them there, and good bit of it's clear that's what happens to you if you stay on the planet when there's they say there's a storm coming, and evidently this one is not full of gay people. And genuinely moving as he sits in front of the remains of his family. And I feel like they pushed that about as far as you can go on a TV PG, because that is I'm impressed that they were able to, and I do think it is I'm not the right person to say when exactly, but it's been demonstrated. It is healthy for you the first time you confront the death of a living thing that you understood was alive, and then you come to understand now it is dead. It is never coming back. That shouldn't be there's a certain age recommended, and but he's sitting there in front of them, and from what I can tell, his family got Mount Pompeii, which is not to be confused with Mike Pompeo, which is a very different thing entirely. And let's see, so they fly back. Love the bit of kids, excited to meet a Jedi for the first time. And there's a saying about you hear the truth from drunks and children. Yeah, pretty big of one of the kids literally goes up to F and is like, "Didn't you guys start the war?" Like, holy crap. Okay, kid, I've read your future. It's not spy. And the the thing about she imparts some wisdom, and the fact that with so many of the Jedi dead, like the there's not enough people to get across the the truth to people. So yeah, a bunch of people think the Jedi started the war. The Empire will listen to those in need. I mean, they're essentially refugees. Do they count as? Yeah, let's go with the general, refugees. And fascists do not like refugees, except for as a scapegoat. And yeah, a lot of capitalists don't like refugees either. There's not always as much of a... To be clear, I am not saying that all capitalists are fascists. I am saying that rich capitalists sometimes behave in a manner very similar to fascists and will sometimes help usher in fascism if they think that it is beneficial to their unquenching thirst for profit. And let's see, I think that pretty much gets us to, yeah, so I thought the episode did a really solid job in very little time of making it feel like, okay, people actually do live on this, ship, that, we see just enough of it. And I was genuinely moved. I guess I maybe already said that, but seeing the guy's family dead. And yeah, so the it looked freaking amazing when the Star Destroyer entered, and yeah, it fires a shot, and then it says, this is the Star Destroyer Oppressor. We've come to take in the Jedi you call F to teach us how to be more subtle in our naming convention. Seriously though, that is genuinely the absolutely perfect word to describe, yeah. And let's see. I mean, even in this episode, they act as oppressors. Like who targets a bunch of civilians just to get one, okay, yeah, obvious metaphor for the genocide by the Israeli government of Palestinians in Gaza is very obvious. I'm not even sure if it was always intended to be commenting on that. I mean, it has been going on for long enough that it could be. And yeah, they even have the goal to say, if you don't release her, all of those, someone says something like, all the deaths will be, on her conscience or something along those lines, which is something they say, Zionists all over the world claim that, why don't the Palestinians just do what the Israeli government says? As if that hasn't been attempted and doesn't work. And I think that pretty much brings us... Yeah, it was... So first it seems like F is going alone. And then we see, oh, okay, the other one is there on the ship, very good misdirect there. And yeah, claims, oh, I'm here for the bounty. I brought you a Jedi, you gotta give me something. Which I think it's very smart of them to only reveal it so late into it's really only after they land that we see, oh, he's on the ship. Because like we do immediately think there's some sort of subterfuge involved here. Fishman? What do you call that again? Never mind. I'll get back to you later. And the yeah, he pulls a disappearing act and puts that stuff they talked about earlier into the thing to mess up the ship, and then goes to rescue F. And I really love, there's so much great about, okay, so F is led to a room. As soon as the door closes behind F, it's a near perfect illusion. Like, we do see a little bit of like reality, but most of what we see is this, like, essentially it's the holodeck, and there's going to be a fight, which is such a cool, yeah. And turns out F's master survived, goes by a different name, and now hates the Jedi for the actual, yeah. And, in reality, people don't come back from the dead, but there are people who, in response to an extreme experience, um, went against what they used to fight for. And yeah, the what's the word? There's the lightsabers right there in front of, and the master's like, why aren't you picking up the lightsaber? Listen, I can read your thoughts very clearly. You are not gonna strike down your enemy yet? Oh, are you trying to Snoke me? And yeah, very, very cool. Manages to get the lightsaber as the master is about to strike F down. And I couldn't help but notice that the saber color was yellow. Huh. I guess that is a good color for someone who is a Jedi about to be struck down by someone evil who uses a lightsaber and force powers. I don't know. I feel like I've seen that somewhere before, and I don't know if it's a purposeful reference or not, but I'll take it. And yeah, really cool fight, and very clever, this thing of like, well, no, I can't best you in saber combat, but I'll put that thing on you. And the master briefly said, my, how you've grown, really nicely done. And let's see, I think that does pretty much get us to, yeah, they radio back, tells, the pilot fishman, you go on ahead, you can escape now. And right before telling them to engage the hyperdrive, he goes, leave now? It's a trap. Do you have a proposal? And yeah, I know I already mentioned the philosophical lesson, but I did really appreciate, she tells the kids, I guess, growing. Yeah, there's several things. One of the things I especially liked was the thing about, fear wounds people, and that can lead to fascism, which is also something they had a similar line in one of the episodes of this season. I'm afraid I forget which, but I think I forgot to mention it in my thoughts video on that one. Really appreciated it there as well. Let's see. And the thing about, some scars you heal on your own without receiving help. And the yeah, the thing about, if you give, if you go to them, you are giving up, and ultimately, they come to an agreement on what should be done. And that's also, no matter how smart you are, or at least think you are, it's good to listen to other, you know, other people's opinions when you're figuring out what should, yeah. Now, I think that covers... Right, yes, there was one more philosophical lesson that I really appreciated. So there's that thing about, when I grow up, I'm going to be a fighter. Right, I also, the thing about, um, oh, the only reason you're winning is because, the the size discrepancy. And the master's like, what about Yoda? Judge him by his size, do you? Right. Also, I gotta say, when there was that thing about, okay, so Lulu, the little droid, when the ship has landed, you're gonna reprogram to fly back, and I just want there to be an outtake where Lulu responds, "That's a lot to put on me, F. It takes me like a minute or more to load a couple of things into a dishwasher." And but yes, the thing about, yeah, getting older doesn't automatically mean you're growing up. There's wisdom and lived experience and such. And yeah, you know, I think it is very accurate that, at the risk of sounding like, oh, age is just a number, yeah, sometimes it's not just a number. Not to be ageist or anything, but yeah, some people, when they get older, they grow up. Other people, they, they reach what should be adulthood, like, let's say age 18, and they just join ICE.